Um, I decided to do a video on talking about making people with Aspergers and how they make friends and how bullying can be involved. This is more of a more personal video than my last, so making friends for me, let alone fitting in, is really hard. I've been moving around most of my life, so that doesn't really help. The root of the issue is what I've been through most of my life, bullying. It was bullying that lowered my self-esteem. It was the fact that I was not accepted that lowered my self-esteem. I'm not afraid now. I'm afraid of rejection, and it's partially the reason why I'm so shy around people and keep to myself. My whole life I've been told, not by my family, but by the schools I have attended and my peers, that I'm a troublemaker and I'm no good and I won't ever amount to anything and I'm a retard. Which, the list can go on, and it never really came to a point. It even really came to a point years ago, and sometime since then, though not recently, that I even thought about taking my life because of the torment and the loneliness. It even came to a point where I just didn't want to go to school or go out and try and socialize. I'm not saying I didn't have friends. I've always had a friend in some form or another, either it being my 4th grade teacher, who is really my only friend, besides my family, Mr. Zabel was his name, and he was actually my favorite teacher of all time, and he stood up for me to people who were picking on me at school. He would see it and call it as it is, while the other teachers would just stand there, watch me being picked on, and do nothing. And when I retaliate, then they would do something, and I'm the one getting in trouble. And he was the one that even was there for me, even outside of school. He would come to my baseball games, just to cheer me on. Because I used to play baseball years and years ago. And then there was my friend Sarah Krebs. I didn't meet her until I moved to I started going to school at Spring Grove a couple years ago. I mean, I'm out of high school now, but she was one of the only few nice people to me. I'm not saying bullying there was less apparent. It was like I kept to myself a lot, and I didn't get picked on as much, but I did have my issues. And what I'm trying to say is that even when I had a friend, I didn't want to do anything. No one should have gone through what I've been, even those who have Aspergers. So, I mean, there's stuff in the news all the time, and people that don't have Aspergers, they shouldn't go with it as well. I'm not just saying it's people with Aspergers I get bullied. And it seems there are people out there that still don't care if they hurt people, and it's really crazy. My story is like, I mainly grew up in this little town called Hanover. If you know, it's potato chips and Snyder's pretzels. That's where I'm from. And it's the worst school I've ever been to. Out of all the schools I've went to in high school, middle school, and elementary. And they said I was the problem, and they're the ones that said I wouldn't amount to anything. Actually, I had a teacher tell me in class outright that I will not amount to anything in front of my whole class. And my principal even did so, but not in front of the class. But they said I was a problem, and when I had a friend, my 4th grade teacher, Mr. Zabel, he never even made sure that ended. Not caring that I had no one I could confide in, because Mr. Zabel was going out of his way outside of school just to be a friend of mine. And my mom was there, and me and him and her corresponded, and he even made sure I wasn't picked on when I'm waiting to be picked up after school. And like I said, he went to baseball games. And the people who bullied me on a daily basis got away for everything. And I was to blame and get the suspensions, the detentions, and punishments. I mean, in the 11th grade, though, it got so bad I stopped going to school. This is when I stopped. The school, Hanover, threatened truancy, and they tried putting me in a school. After I told my mom and I told them I'm not coming back. They got to give me a new school. They tried to put me in a school for delinquents, people who've been in juvie, and it was called River Rock Academy. And I would have gone through like searches every day, and I wouldn't. It's like no talking, no making friends, no nothing. And then, but after we said no to that, my family, they ended up putting me in a support class for people with autism. But these are people with the lower end of the spectrum. People who can't really speak and whatnot. And even that class, the teachers in that class were like, why am I in that class? And Hanover said I have to be in that class all the time, and I couldn't be what they consider mainstreamed, which means I can go to regular classes with regular people. I don't mean it like that. I mean with fellow students. And fortunately for me, the sport class was being nice and said, actually let me be fully mainstreamed, despite what Hanover wanted. And now, today, I'm not bullied as much. I mean, I'm in college and have a few more friends, and than I had 3 years ago in high school. And just looking back, I do wonder, though, what could have been different. If I had been accepted for who I was and what I have, I wonder if I might have been more open to other people and actually not being shy and afraid of rejection, which I still am. And I still don't go out often. I keep to myself a lot. And I don't have many friends. I mean, I do have quite a few, but I don't have a lot. And I don't really hang out with them much because schedules either conflict or they live in a different town or city. And what I'm just saying is be more accepting of people with Aspergers and don't judge them. I mean, what I'm trying to say is that bullying can also stem from how people with Asperger's act. We can be seen as easy targets because we'll say and do things which we might actually think are okay. Take for me, for example, I said a lot of stuff in high school and did some things that other people did. But when I did them, people thought I was being an asshole or a jerk. And that's not what I was trying to be. And then there were times where people would say, I hear something said to me. Yeah, when people are saying something to me, I might think they're joking, but they're actually really picking on me and just being mean. And there were times where my mom would just point it out. They're like, oh, they're actually being mean to you. I mean, there's times where I have issues like that. But it's things like those that hurt people like myself in the long run. And just think on your actions. It's how you act. It's what you do. And if you might think you might be saying something as a joke, and you know somebody who has Asperger's, and you're saying this to, try to clarify. Because, I mean, this goes for everyone, too. I mean, there are people that will think something isn't a joke when you actually do, and they'll hate you for it. I mean, there were times where people were actually really joking and not being mean to me, and I've screwed up a lot of friendships because of it. I lost quite a few friends. And there are times I'll be a pest and I don't even realize it. And this goes with making friends as well. And I can go on hours about this, so I'm just gonna end it here and let you just think on it. And if you have any questions, just feel free to ask me. But this is what I go through. I go through stuff like this every day, what I just mentioned. So, I mean, it's not so bad now, but, and, yeah, it's just, it's a crazy world for me.